My snack, it's at 10 or 11 with my Greek yogurt. I open it up and I'm like, happiness. It just makes me happy, and it just makes the food look more interesting. There's something funny when you go into your 40s and you kind of reach this point where you're like, this is me.
So we do get to points in life where we're like, oh my God, what do I even enjoy?
Yeah.
What hobbies do I don't even have a hobby.
My morning routine, and I need to do X, and I need to meditate, and it was always just push to do this, to do that.
And the lie that women have been told when it comes to balance.
Yeah.
Because I think as women, we have a very different experience of what balance should look like.
It was like someone just said to me, can you just package up everything you've done for the last 10 years and make it a business? Like, to me, that was the dream.
Welcome to No One Told Me This, the podcast where we unpack what it really means to be a woman in leadership. The ambition, the identity crises, the cultural tensions, the glass ceilings, and those that we build ourselves. My name is Jess. I'm your host, a certified leadership coach, and your honest big sister in the boardroom. This is not the stuff you find in handbooks. This is the stuff that no one told us that we're saying out loud. So let's get into it. In today's episode, we are exploring all things work-life balance. Is it a myth? Is it attainable? And should it even be the goal in the first place? We talk about the importance of being happy, of deciding and being honest with yourself, not abandoning yourself, and also having the right people around you to ensure that you are as successful as possible. Now, today's guest knows a lot about balance. Not only is she a personal brand strategist, but she's also a TEDx speaker, an author, and a business mentor. She not only brings her perspective of balance personally, but also the perspective of those CEOs and execs that she's worked closely with. So welcome to the pod, Kelly Lundberg.
Thank you for having me. It's so nice to be a guest.
Yes, you're sitting on the other side today. I'm not sure if you've got a side that is your favourite side.
I usually sit on that side,
Okay,
so it's
fine.
nice that I feel in this side. But it's such a treat. Honestly, it feels like such a treat to come in and add value and answer some questions. So I'm excited to hear what you've got.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this conversation today. One of the first things I want to know, just to start off and just to ease into things, how are you feeling today?
Very good. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think for me, what helps me get to that 10 feeling is that I work out every morning.
I love that.
Today was a Wednesday, so it wasn't my usual strength training, which I love. It's a little bit more cardio based. I don't love it, but honestly, afterwards, I feel great.
That's the thing about cardio, isn't it? It's like when you get your heart rate going a certain amount, then afterwards you feel that rush. Whereas, don't know, sometimes I can go and do strength training and I know that I've worked out, but I don't feel the same as when I actually do push myself.
And that Stairmaster, oh my God, what a killer that is.
I can't say that I dabble in that. The treadmill is as far as I go for the cardio.
Yeah.
Honestly. Well, have you had breakfast this morning and did it have glitter?
So it's funny that do I eat glitter for breakfast?
Yes.
And I actually do. So I think this came from, did you see a LinkedIn post or was it an Instagram story?
It was actually an Instagram story. And then I had to hold the page because I was like, wait, she's eating glitter. And then I realized it was a thing. And I was like, well, we need to talk about this because I need to understand what made it a thing.
Yeah.
And is there a meaning behind it for you?
I think it's happiness. So I eat the same thing every single morning, pretty much. So if it's not eggs on the go, it's Greek yogurt. And with my Greek yogurt, it's raspberries. And this has very much come from last year. I started working with a nutrition and fitness coach. And I'd been going to the gym for years, but I hadn't really been seeing the results that I wanted to. And they say, abs are made in the kitchen, everything's in the kitchen. It's all about food, And it was the key piece that I was missing. But it was those little things that I didn't understand. I wasn't fully aware of, I just thought getting over 100 grams of protein was unachievable. But it was actually little swaps here, adding this in here. And one of those was including Greek yogurt with, my 50, 60, 70 grams of raspberries. Okay. And I remember seeing on a reel somewhere that someone else had talked about in the mornings, it just brings happiness. And it is so me. And I bake and I have things like edible glitter, edible stars. It won't surprise you that I have edible lemons, like little rice paper. And I have them all in my cabinet. And I was like, I'm going to not keep this for baking because it's not all the time I bake. And I was like, I'm going to start using this in my day. And then, when I have my snack, it's at 10 or 11 with my Greek yogurt, I open it up and I'm like, happiness. It just makes me happy, and it just makes the food look more interesting. So I love it.
Do you actually have it every day?
I would say probably 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it doesn't weigh anything. Even the stars, there's like 1 gram. It's not even worth putting into your calories, but it's just that happiness. And if I'm at home or if I'm working somewhere, then it would be eggs. But if I'm on the go, there's always that prep. So yeah.
So when they say that abs are made in the kitchen, because I've heard the same thing, and I've tried to be really, really just strict with the kind of things that I'm eating and just have a colourful plate,
Yeah.
Do you feel like it takes away that boring, like I have eggs or yogurt every day, and like, some people might be like, oh, that's boring, and I like to like have a bit more variety.
Yeah.
But do you feel like the glitter and the stars and all of that just makes it a bit more
and
exciting?
It's just so, and it's just so me. Like, I mean, stars are everything. I think that came from a birthday card that my mum gave me before I travelled, or a card that she'd written, and it was a little quote that had said, reach for the stars, reach for the moon, because if you fall back in stars. Like, there was this kind of quote about it, and it's always been my reach for the stars, reach for the stars. And I think anything where there's glitter and stars, I gravitate to naturally. And for me, that just brings, it's me. And I eat the same food, so it does make it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, you are in the world of personal branding. I think we're in a time right now where everyone wants to figure out how to build a personal brand. What does that even mean? What's it going to take? Is it expensive? Money first or make money first? Do you spend first or make it? But I want to know more about when you kind of fell in love with personal branding, and when did you also think it could actually be a career for you?
There was very much an aha moment many years ago when I understood that I was a brand. So back in 2000 and I want to say probably 2010, 2011, I got an invitation to speak with a luxury retailer, which in those days was Harvey Nichols.
Oh, yes.
And I was in the fashion industry. So to collaborate with luxury, it was a big deal. And I remember the marketing department saying to me before they were about to advertise this event that I was the guest speaker at, they said, can you send me over your bio? Can you send me over your pictures? Can you send me over your logo? Like, all things as a business owner, you're like, yeah, no problem. And they got back in touch and they said, I'm afraid we can't use this. And I was like, oh, why? Thinking, is it not designer enough? Is it not high end, like sophisticated? And she had said, we just can't use it because it's your business. And I was kind of really perplexed at that time, going, but I am my business. And she was like, as a business, we can't be seen to be promoting other businesses. We can promote you as an individual name, but we can't promote your business. And I was like, and it was just such a light bulb moment. So I said, what do you need? My logo? And she was like, yes, can you get that? And I was like, oh, we're just updating it. Can you give me a couple of days and I'll get it over to you? And that kind of really prompted the launch of Kelly Lundberg being a personal brand. And I think it wasn't just that. At the time, I also had a book about entrepreneurship. I was going into schools and speaking about entrepreneurship. It didn't fit into the box of styling. So I didn't know how to articulate it. But I think then it was really understanding your personal brand is one thing, your business is another. And the reality is we all have a personal brand. It's just what we're not doing is being intentional. So what that Harvey Nichols conversation really made me do was be intentional about Kelly Lundberg as a brand. And then I had my business, which worked so well because I wanted to sell my business at some point. And that took another 9 years, but I had built the Kelly Lundberg brand alongside my business and it stood me in such good stead. Yeah. So yeah, that was the aha moment.
Yeah, that's amazing. And where you stand today then, if someone knew you 10 years ago, would they recognize the Kelly that you are today?
I think there is so many parts that, yes, they would. Like the energy and, how I am, absolutely. But I would say the confidence, people would, I think, notice the confidence. And I think if you were to look side by side, you would most definitely see a difference in that. And I thought I was a confident person then. But there's something funny when you go into your 40s and you kind of reach this point where you're like, this is me. And you feel so much more comfortable in your skin that for me, that's then really when you start showing up unapologetically. You think you're doing it in your 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
But the reality is with all this knowledge and everything you're doing, you move into this space and you go, wow, this is absolutely me.
Since you've been building your own personal brand, but also helping other people build their personal brands as well, I know that you believe that in terms of work-life balance, that it isn't necessarily the correct goal to have.
Yeah.
So talk to us about why you think that it isn't the right goal to have.
Yeah. I don't think it exists. So I do think work-life balance is a bit of a myth. I think there are some times where you'll be more work because of a particular project or you want to get something off the ground. And there'll be other times where, I don't know, maybe you'll be more focused on something else. That might be a big life event. You've had a baby, you are getting married, you're looking after elderly parents, whatever that is. So I think that this strive to find this 50-50, it doesn't exist. So I think being aware that sometimes you'll lean more into this and other times you'll lean more into that. I think it's the awareness piece is the goal. Am I too much for too long in the workspace? And is that not working to my benefit? Or it's usually more that one. Yeah. Or is it that, maybe I am spending too much time in this space and I need to move more into that? So I would always be looking at not striving for this number, but much more reflecting in what energizes me. And that comes back to you as a person. The decisions you make, is this energizing me in this space? Is this draining me? Yeah. And then going, okay, well, I want to spend more time doing these things versus it's all about work or it's all about home life. Because there could be something in between as well.
Yeah, very true.
That kind of helps you get through that point. So I'm a big believer in finding what works for you and the other pieces as well. That I love work. And I feel that there shouldn't be you spend more time. I spend more time working than my husband. Because I love what I do. He probably won't watch this. I hope he doesn't. But I genuinely do. And I love a Sunday, for example. And it actually came up in a question. I said to him on one of our anniversaries, we always do questions, like 5 questions that we ask ourselves. And one of the questions I'd asked him was, what's one thing you've seen from me running a business that inspires you in your day? And he said, actually, it's the amount of prep that you put in at the start of the week to make sure that your week goes the way that you intend it to. And I thought that was a really interesting observation because one, I didn't know if he really knew what I do on a Sunday, but I love my Sundays. I spend 3 or 4 hours extra working on a Sunday because it fills me up for my week ahead and because I have the time to do it and I love what I do. Yeah. But I appreciate not everyone does that. So why do people need to be penalized because, I should be taking time off? But if that's what energizes you and makes you happy, you've got to do what makes you happy. Yeah. So I think there is the 2 ways in looking at that as well.
Yeah, it comes up a lot actually on this pod where different women talk about doing something that they actually love and getting to a point in their life where they feel that they are finally doing something that they love. And so they have a bit more autonomy and a bit more, freedom to choose and all of this. And so what's interesting is I actually read a book. It was called The One Thing. And it had a chapter that was all about work-life balance. And one of the things it spoke about was counterbalance. And that, if you're at work, or let's say you're working, whether it's something you love or whether it's something that you kind of tolerate, you're 100% doing that thing when you're doing it. And then when you leave it there. And then when you're at home, you're 100% at home. Yeah. Or you're with your loved ones, or you're spending quality time. And just being able to be fully present in whatever it is that you're doing, just giving this idea of counterbalance rather being the goal rather than balance itself, not equally in each place, but kind of fully.
And I think that comes back to the reflection
Yeah.
What makes you feel energized and what makes you feel happy versus the other way around. Like we've had this conversation many times, my husband and I say to him, what do other people do when they're not working at the weekends? What and we're like, they go out and eat or they'll watch TV, but that doesn't make like what sitting and watching. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a blockbuster movie or I'll get into a box set, but to sit and watch the TV all day on the weekend, no way. So because that's what balance should be, I think it's got to work for you.
Definitely. I'm interested to know then what you think about like the myth and the lie that women have been told when it comes to balance.
Yeah.
Because I think as women, we have a very different experience of what balance should look like.
Yeah.
And whether it's finding something that you love that you can get paid for enough,
Yes.
Spending time with your family, with your spouse, being a good daughter, an auntie, a sister, remembering to work out, hydrate yourself, like whatever. Like there's just so many things that we have to think about.
Yeah.
What do you think is like the biggest lie when it comes to balance for women?
Yeah. Probably that it doesn't exist. It really doesn't. And I think if you're not happy about something, I remember someone said this, or maybe I read it, like you're not a tree, move.
Yes.
Do something else. And for me, that would come back to if there's something in that you're not happy with, what can I do to alleviate the pressures around it? Is it, the job that I'm not happy in? Okay, what can I do that will make me do something that I am more happy? And that's not an overnight thing. That could be, okay, I need 6 to 12 months to build up to doing this, or I want promotion, or maybe it's my wardrobe that doesn't make me feel happy, or maybe it's I hate cooking, or, and then go, okay, where and how can we bring something in to change how that makes us feel?
Yeah.
And it comes back to the reflection piece. So one of the things I always get to my clients to do before they start working with me, because it's something I do, is I have this booklet called Planned Power. And it takes 3 to 4 hours to do. And I do it every 6 months. And it really allows me to reflect back on the things that are working well. What am I sabotaging? What doesn't make me happy? And then go, well, how could I bring that wheel of life up to a 9 or a 10? What would it need to be what would I need to do in order for my friendship, social life to be a 9 or a 10?
Yeah.
And I think when you start asking those questions and you do it regularly, that's where change happens. And that's when you end up doing things that you're happy in.
It makes perfect sense. Do you feel like you've kind of got to this, I guess, epiphany by an experience that you had? Have you ever like chased balance and then like it backfired or something and then you realised that, oh, actually, it doesn't exist?
COVID. Yeah. Okay. I think I went through a phase. And not a phase, and actually a coach helped me through it a lot. I think COVID was great for so many things. I really found myself in then. But during that time, I got very fixated with, okay, this is going to be part of my morning routine, and I need to do X, and I need to meditate. And it was always just push to do this, to do that.
Yeah. And
it brought me into this world, which I'm a very positive person, but it brought me into the world of fake positive. And we're talking, 5 years ago, I didn't realize then fake positivity was actually a hindrance. And it was negatively impacting my business and the way I show up. And I think that's another myth that people are sold. I feel that when I first started my business, it was very much, how's business going? Amazing.
Yeah.
How's things going? Amazing. And the reality is not everything is amazing every day. And being real and having those conversations is incredibly important. And when you stop pushing and letting things flow, that's when things started to change for me massively. And I think that was a big aha moment in understanding when, trying to push for this and this and this and this, then when it backfired, my coach is like, you let it flow. And I'm like, but I can't, I need to do this. An example, he said to me, what do you like doing? And I said, do you know what? I love escaping to a novel.
Okay.
A romance novel, like a you know, like a book that's nothing to do with business, nothing. But I never give myself, this was 5 years ago, gave myself permission to read a Jessica Redland or a Marion Keyes or something where, you know, get lost in it.
Yeah.
And he gave me this challenge, my coach, and he said, because I was like, no, I need to read the next business book. I need to listen to a podcast. I need to do this. And he's like, stop. Just take half an hour out and listen to a book or read a book. And I did. And I loved it. And it allowed me to feel, just stop pushing. And for many people, they'll find their own thing. But I didn't have that. And that's where it was, okay, how do you lean into a bit more feminine energy than always being masculine and pushing and pushing and pushing, and into this fake positive. So I'm very aware of that now.
Yeah, I think it's really easy for us to fall into this doing instead of just being. I almost feel like we don't feel we're doing enough.
Oh, absolutely.
When we're just being, and it's like really tough to come to terms with it. Like if I'm just me and I'm just here and I'm just enjoying who I am and what I like to do and exploring and adventure and all of that. Am I working? Am I achieving? Am I successful?
Yeah.
You know, well, it's a lot of pressure.
It's
a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves. So then if balance isn't what women should be focusing on, then what should the goal actually be?
Well, I think that's the question where it comes to reflection. What is it that I like? And I don't think, again, people give themselves, men and women, enough time to go, what actually lights me up? What do I enjoy doing? And I think so often we can be very guilty of leaning into what does our spouse want to do? What are we doing because of our children? I think if you asked any parent, okay, on a Saturday morning, do they want to really be at a soft plate? Probably not. And they're doing it for their kids. I get that. But throughout that weekend, is there the opportunity to carve out an hour, half an hour, whether it's a fitness class, whether it's walking, whether it's catching up with friends, something that lights you up? And I think, but unless you understand what it is that lights you up, then that becomes really challenging. And that for me came through divorce and being single and really understanding, I don't know what I like to do. I don't know what Kelly likes to do. Is that because her friends like to do it? Was that because her husband liked to do it? I don't know. And having that time to be happy within you and going, oh, I like that. Like I've tried ballet, for example, because I was like, okay, maybe I could do adult ballet. I wanted to do ballet when I was a kid. Let's just say I'm never going to be a ballerina. I tried it. I've tried it more than once and I suck at it. And I was like, do you know what? But I tried it. Kelly's not a ballerina. But then I tried reformer and I was like, okay, I could kind of get into this and found an exercise so that made me happy. The book's a great example. So I think having that space of understanding for you what makes me happy, and only you can answer that.
I think I do want to labor this point a bit about what makes me happy, because again, it has come up as a theme, and I feel that a lot of women don't get to stop and ask themselves that question, and almost don't give themselves permission actually to ask themselves that question, because it is, and I do feel that we are conditioned in a way to put everyone else's needs before our own. So we do get to points in life where we're like, oh my God, what do I even enjoy? Yeah. What hobbies do I don't even have a hobby. What do I like? What do I want to, if the TV isn't there, like you say, like if you're not binge watching like Netflix, what would I actually do with this time? Yeah. And we're wasting away a lot of time not really thinking about it. But what's interesting as well is I found as well in my life is that I can get to points where I just feel stuck. Like I know what I should do. And I know that, okay, I really like this thing. Let's say I like dancing and I want to go to a dance class. Even just to book the dance class and to like make that commitment and to do that thing, it will just be on a list of things to do for ages. And there's this thing of feeling stuck and not really actually pushing the button. I don't know if you ever experienced that.
I get a friend to come with me.
Okay.
So that kind of thing, if I'm going to try something new, I'll say to someone, do you want to come and do this with me? And 9 times out of 10, they'll go, yeah. And there's a little bit of the accountability in doing that. Because absolutely, like if someone's going, will you come? That ballet class, for example, that I went to was an evening thing. And I don't really do much in the evening because I'm a 4:30 get up every morning. And I actually asked a girlfriend, I said, will you come to this ballet class with me? And she was like, yeah, no worries. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have done it. And I think there's that way that it's trial and error. And also what worked for you then doesn't work for you now. You know, my early 20s when I moved to the Middle East, I played a lot of field hockey and it gave me the social engagement and I loved it. But then when I was single, I went through again, okay, well, I liked playing hockey in my 20s. Does Kelly in her 30s still like to play hockey?
Yeah.
No, she doesn't like going out at 7:30 at night. I was coming home at 10 o'clock and it just didn't fit with me. So you've got to try these things, and what worked for you then might not always work for you now.
I wonder, in the pursuit of building this life that you have now, have you ever sacrificed, you know, I don't know, whether it's a certain part of you, whether it's something that you used to do in order to have the life that you have now?
Yeah. And probably that is one part of it, being really honest with myself that actually I don't love going out and doing things in the evening. So if you were to say to me, oh, Kelly, do you want to go out and go for dinner and it's at 8 or 8:30, like that fills me with dread. Whereas with some people that totally likes them. You're speaking to like a reformed party girl who, you know, was in the fashion industry. I would be out 3 or 4 times a week in the old days in Dubai. And I'd be like, you know, staying in more than 2 days. Oh, that, you know, that's sacrilege. You can't do that. Whereas now it's unheard of. But I would say I've sacrificed that. But actually, I'm really happy doing that because my mornings bring me so much more joy than going out on an evening ever does. So now and again, you know, don't get me wrong, there's things that will come up and birthdays and celebrations and what have you. But I know that I get so much more. But you've got to try with that. Again, it's just trial and error. And I think a big part for me is encouraging and empowering people to try and be, do you know what? That's not for me. Whether that's starting a business, whether that's going and speaking on stage, whether that's, you know, intentionally owning their personal brand, try it. Because I would hate to be that person in 20 or 30 years that you meet the person that you could have been.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, no, I this is not a dress rehearsal. Every day we are here to show up as that best version of ourselves. So if that means you get up at 4:30, if that means you eat glitter for breakfast, if that means you go to bed earlier than other people, then it's okay. It's really okay. But you've got to try with that. And I think back to your question of 10 years ago, would Kelly 10 years ago recognize the person now? Yes, with the energy and the aspects of who I am, but certainly what you're staying in, you're not going out in an evening. You get up at the gym at 4:30. And it's interesting, that planned power booklet that I talk about, that I reflect back on every 6 months, the question that at the very end it asks you is to create a desire statement. And one of those things is I look back at those desire statements and over the years, I've seen how much my life has improved, or the things that I wanted have actually become part of my life.
I want to talk a little bit about ambition, because you are an ambitious woman and you actually really go for what you want. And you've had the experience of kind of working through maybe self-doubt, maybe, you know, am I doing too much actually? And I wonder whether you felt like you ever had to tone down your ambition in order to fit in.
I would say, have I ever had to tone down my ambition to fit in? Maybe on a personal level. And I think that was probably one of the biggest drivers in for me and going through divorce and who am I as a person, where it was, you know, why aren't you just happy with what you've got? Like, this is good. And I'm like, no, but I want more. And I think when someone doesn't support you with your ambition for wanting more and to be a better version of you, then I think, yeah, absolutely. And that goes back to I'm not a tree. So if I'm not happy with it, I'm responsible for making those changes. Yeah. I can either choose to stay in this, even though it's not what I think I could do. Or back to what I had said about, imagine meeting that person you could have become.
Yeah.
And I think, wow, I could have met, like, I think now that 10 years on, I'm so happy that those 2 years of discomfort and uncertainty and unknowing and questioning, because I felt that part of that ambition was being squashed, that became who I am now. The happiest that I've ever been, personally, professionally, and just showing up.
It's such a good point that you raise, because relationships, like in our lives, whether it's friendships, whether it's partners, family, they do really shape our success. And I think a lot of times as well as women, we get to a point where we have to make a decision. Do we abandon ourselves? Like what you're saying, like if someone is kind of holding you back from your ambition, you are actually going to either choose them or, you know, and their comfort, or yourself, and the unknown. And a lot of times, like, I know I feel this and I have this ambition. I don't know if it will work. I don't know where it will take me. And sometimes that can be really scary, you know, like, can I take this risk on myself? Will it actually be worth it? What if I make the wrong choice? But I'm interested to know how much you think family and friends and people that you have around you actually like impact your success as well.
Oh, massively. And if I think back to sort of that moment, and I remember thinking, you know, that decision of uncertainty, I remember there was a throwaway comment that was made, and it was like, what, you're gonna go and do this all on your own? You know, you sell clothes for a living. You'll never make it.
Wow.
And it was kind of one of those. And I remember thinking, well, do you know what? At least I've tried. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's you have to try, whether it's trying ballet and knowing that you suck at it, or trying that period on your own. And I'd sort of thought, you know what, if this means for the rest of my life that I'm going to be single and I'm never going to meet anyone again, I'd rather be single for the rest of my life, but know that I have tried something and pushed it to what I think is capable. And I think there's varying points in where, you know, family and friends absolutely, you know, come round and support you in those times. And for me, it was huge. You know, my mum flew out to help me. My sister found, you know, from Scotland, found me somewhere to stay on Airbnb, you know, so everyone kind of, you know, rallied in that space. And I think absolutely, but I do think there's also the other way around, that, you know, friendships is a big part of who you spend time with, and they can form part of your success. I think there's jealousy also in that friendship circle. Co-workers, people that maybe if you own your own business that are in the same field that they're not. I think that there's so many things that you have to look at in that space. So I think absolutely they'll affect every single impact in what you're doing. Reflecting back to, does this person drain my energy or bring me energy? And I've been asking those questions a lot, personally, professionally, and you're not a tree.
You're not a tree.
Go and make those changes. And it frustrates me when people say, but it's not in my control. And I'm like, well, explain to me what part is not in your control. It's choices. And I genuinely believe we all have choices.
Yeah.
Good or bad. We all have choices. And, you know, you've got to, it's up to you.
It definitely is up to you. I'm interested to know if you felt like on that journey after you made that choice and you kind of moved, I guess, your life forward, did you ever have times where you just doubted yourself, or you just felt like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? This is not going to work. And like, how did you even pull yourself back from that?
Absolutely. Like way too many times. and I remember one when where I was staying in that Airbnb, for example. It was quite funny, you know, like the little things. The one thing I'd said to my sister was, book anywhere as long as it doesn't have brown bedding. I don't know why I had an issue with brown bedding. And it was so ironic that when I moved into this apartment, It had brown bedding. I said, this was the one thing. And I remember this one night being in this apartment and it was brown bedding, and my apartment where I was living with my ex-husband at the time was like, you know, a walk away. And I was going, can I really do this? It wasn't about the brown bedding, but you know, it was just this.
It sent you over the edge.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that was it.
Yeah.
I could be in my bed and just forget all this happened. And you know, can you really do this? This is all you do. Just all it will take you is to walk over there and you could go in. You've still got the key. And I think that piece of going, no, you have to do this. You have to do this. You have to try this for yourself. And if you still feel like this in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, maybe. But that piece, so yeah, there's been many a moment. But I think understanding, finding a routine for me, and, you know, health and fitness has played a huge part of that. And that kind of gives you the energy and the strength mentally to get through those moments.
I want to dig a bit deeper into this health and fitness part because also I've been on this fitness journey, really just to be healthy, really just to like make sure I'm moving my body every day in different ways, love a reformer, going to the gym, doing my sort of workouts and what have you. But I think there really is this level of like commitment that it takes to like keep showing up when you're not seeing the results, keep doing the work, all of this. When it comes to balance, you know, a lot of people will say, I don't have the time.
Yeah.
I don't have the time to work out. I don't have the time to be consistent with it. Maybe I'll do it like once a week, and that's me really pushing myself. How do you find the balance? How did you kind of carve out a routine? How does it work for you to actually be consistent with your health and your fitness?
And it's a great question because I didn't get it right for years. And it wasn't until I look back on those desire statements that I used to write that I thought, wow, I've come so far. Like one of those desire statements would be, you know, you're part of the 6 a.m. club. Like that was my dream, to be able to get up at 6 a.m. and consistently go to the gym. And I'm now part of the 4:30, like at 4:30, and I go to the gym at 5. And it has taken doing the same thing. And that, I think, was the biggest lesson. That what I used to do was, let's just say, I don't know, you go to a class 3 times a week, or you have a trainer twice a week, or what have you. And then on those days you get up at 6 or you get up at 7 to go and do those classes. But then you give yourself permission on the other days to go, do you know what? I'll have a lie-in because I was up early yesterday. But the real secret is to create a routine that's the same.
Right.
That was where it all changed. So instead of going, well, I'm you know, going to Pilates on a Tuesday and a Thursday, so I'm going to have a different routine on a Monday. Sure, but make sure you get up at the same time. So this whole having a different, and it starts, your morning routine starts in the evening.
Yes.
So you've got to find an evening routine that works with what it is that you're doing. So is that 10 p.m. consistently? Is that 11 p.m. consistently? You got to work. Well, some people are night owls. So sometimes it's like, okay, I get so much work done in the evening, and you go to bed at 11. That's okay. Whatever it is, it's got to work for you. But then what happens is people then try and you get social jet lag at the weekend, because then they try and stay up like way later, and it's just like, your routine is your routine.
Yeah.
And that is what drives massive consistency, because you know, and your brain knows, that every single morning you get up at this time and you do this. That's what changed everything for me.
Maybe that's why I've been getting it wrong, because I have a routine where certain days I do my workouts, and those days that I don't, I wake up later.
Yes. Oh, that changed it.
And yeah, this is good, because I'm going to try this now, just keeping that same consistency.
So
regardless.
then what you don't have to work out every day, but then you would go and do your steps, or you would go and do whatever it is, a walk on the beach, but that same momentum, which then means you go to bed at the same time the night before, which then sends your body into a cadence cycle that it likes, the consistency.
Yeah.
And that's where it'll come for you.
So I'm interested then if you believe that women can really have it all, because, you know, I guess we're in a day and age where everyone's fighting to have it all. And I think a lot of women think all means everything.
That's exactly what I would say. Because what is your all? I think that is the That is the question, because I know people would look at me and go, well, she maybe doesn't have it all because she doesn't have the kids, or, she doesn't have this, or she doesn't do that. But that's their perception of all. Do I think I have it? Do I think I have it all right now? Yes. And the driver for that is, do I wake up happy every single day? Yes. And people ask me this on my Instagram. Do you wake up this happy every single day? And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. To the point that it drives my husband insane if we walk together to the gym in the morning, because he's like, you're just talking all day. And I love it. And he's like, can I just listen to my book? So we found a happy medium there through communication, that I now leave a wee bit earlier and he catches me up and he gets his time, I get my time. And then we Fair enough. Get a little bit of the kind of, hey, how's your day? That kind of, or what's your day looking like? But I would say, are you happy? And I would have loved to have said that 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but that was the journey. And am I happy now? Do I have it all? For me right now, yes. But that might change in 2 years' time, and I'll be like, I don't have this, or I want this. Let's go for it.
What's one thing that no one told you about building a life, building a brand that you can be proud of? What's one thing that no one told you about this journey?
That you have all the answers, but other people will help bring them out. And for me, that's been through the tremendous amount of personal development that I've invested in, people that I've worked with. It's all here. We have it all. But sometimes someone shines a light on something, and that then helps propel you to the next version of you.
So if you were coaching a young woman just starting out her career, and I know you do coaching with some teenagers as well, what is sort of one thing that you would tell them to kind of stop doing immediately? Like, just don't waste your time with it.
Oh, that's a very good question. I would say, what are they not very good at? And I go, what are you not very good at? Stop doing it. Or can you get someone to help you?
Yeah.
Because I think people end up just doing things that they're not very good at and continue to do it, but then hate doing it. And that's when it kind of brings you into this, I hate doing social media, or I hate public speaking, for example. So understanding what are you not very good at, and then going, stop it, or let's get someone that can help you with that. Why don't you like doing it? And then that in itself is, what's your weakness can often become then your biggest superpower. And looking at how to bring that into intentionally your personal brand.
Yeah, I hear that. What do you think is like one mindset shift that really changed the game for you?
Ooh, one mindset shift. Oh, there's so many, and little ones that we've kind of touched upon. I think a mindset shift probably that's resonating with me right now is that fake positive. I think a lot of people live in this fake positivity of everything's amazing, and they're not having the honest conversations.
Yeah.
Not necessarily with everyone else, but the honest conversation with themselves.
Yeah.
And I think understanding, what is it that you really want? And when things don't work out, is it because you actually wanted them? And then when you start to dig deep, you're like, oh no, actually, I wanted this instead. So I would say the fake positivity has really allowed me to be more truthful and honest with myself and others.
It's a really, really deep topic, actually, the fake positivity, because I think you mentioned it earlier when you're in a place in your life where you think, I should be happy. I have everything that I was told I should have, and that should make me really happy. And I think there'll probably be a lot of women that have a life that they've been told that they should have, and then they're just like, I'm really not fulfilled, and I'm not living my best life. I'm not actually like reaching my potential at all. But I do think it's something that we're kind of conditioned to think that this is our lot now. You've agreed to it, and this is what you've got to do now. You can't really change. But I do believe in evolution, the evolution of ourselves, and become different people at different stages in our life. And it's really encouraging to also hear your evolution and being in those places that we can all relate to, and then kind of growing out of that into, into your own person, into your own power, having your own autonomy.
I think that's why I love what I do. And to go back to maybe a question that you'd said, how did you know that personal branding was a business? It was very first question. You know, understanding that I had a personal brand and I was reinventing. I thought that it's not, in the beginning, I thought that was not everyone reinvents. But the reality, and I was so young then, but I feel the reality is now that reinvention is a good thing. And when did I notice it was a business was when someone came to me and had said, I've seen all the things that you've done. I've seen you build this. I've seen you do this. I've seen you speak on stages. I've seen you build your own personal brand website. I've seen you go from this career to this career. Can you help me? And that to me was, yeah, I absolutely can. Like, it was like someone just said to me, can you just package up everything you've done for the last 10 years and make it a business? Like, to me, that was the dream. And that was my very first personal branding client. And she's still actually a client of mine today. We check in every month. And I love it. I absolutely love it. But I think that whole piece of reinvention is owning that. It's so powerful. And when you stand in the shoes and start showing up unapologetically you, the doors and opportunities, like, they just open. And it's so empowering. And that's very much my kind of message at the moment.
Yeah, I love that. Well, what do you think if someone were to look at Kelly Lundberg in years from now, what do you want them to kind of say about you?
I would say, so one of my personal brand values is inspire to action. I don't want to just inspire people. I want someone to go, I was inspired to go and do X, because that's where the movement piece happens.
Yeah.
And again, you can make the decision, did I like it? Did I not like it? So I don't know how different it would be now to be that someone said, you inspired me to write a book. You inspired me to go and do X. You inspired me to travel to a new country, to show up here, to go for promotion, to put myself forward for a TEDx talk. That to me would be still something I would love people would say about me, the inspire piece. And I think probably where I've got more confidence in the last few years is to be able to empower others to be able to tell their story doing that. So storytelling is in this move towards AI. How are you going to stand out in the noise is your personal experiences and your ability to be able to tell a story that inspires people to action, to do something within their job or their career. And I would like to be able to help people give the gift to do that.
I love that. Well, with that being said, tell us about the work that you're doing, who it's for specifically. You blessed me with this book, a copy of your book, DC the Lemon. So I'm really excited to read this. Tell us about what you're doing now, what a day in your life looks like, and who your work is for.
So I would say what we do is we help entrepreneurs and executives, because there's two different markets there and both got very different goals, but intentional with their personal brand. But I would say we help them to go from hidden to seen, and we do everything in between to help them be more memorable, which is the goal. And for me, it comes back down to, how do you make people feel? And how are you as a personal brand making people feel on your social media, in your day-to-day interactions? What are you doing that's memorable, and what's intentional about your strategy of doing that? And that's where we help clients. Some might be their personal style, it might be their storytelling, it might be their content strategy. How do they show up on LinkedIn? It might be public speaking as a huge part of, how do I get more confident on a team meeting? How do I get more confident at a town hall? Like, that's your personal brand, because that's what people remember about you. And I heard this quote and I loved it, where I can't take credit for it. It was Chris Do, and he said, be in the business of creating a personal brand, not being a personal bland.
Oh.
And I really like that, because I was like, there are so many personal blands out there, and they just all blend into one. Whereas it's your superpower, and often it's really hard for individuals to see what their superpower is. How do they take what could potentially be, or what they perceive as their weaknesses, into their superpower and strengths? How do you inspire people with your origin story that then becomes about the people you're taking on that journey? How do you get people to repost your content on LinkedIn because it was so value driven and it wasn't about you, but it was something that they can put into action? And I think we're all here to serve, and your personal brand is for you to add value versus for you to go, hey, look at me, everyone. I'm thrilled. I just got this new job. It's not about that. So how do we do that in a way that's not all about you? So yeah, I have a book, I have online courses, I work one-to-one, I do a lot of keynote speaking, which I love. And yeah, and outside a typical day, there isn't actually a typical day, to be honest. But I am quite structured in the way of protecting my time. So my Sunday, I mentioned that I plan a lot. Monday is I don't take calls. So I would never book a client call on a Monday.
Okay.
And that's for me to be my day, to get ahead of the whole week. Tuesdays tends to be mentoring. And then when you're quite structured with what goes into those days, you protect your time, you get so much more done.
Yeah.
And sure, of course, don't get me wrong, things come up and what have you. But when you're planning your week, having and the ability to be able to say, okay, I knew to come and do this interview was on another day that I was doing something else. Do you know what I mean? So you can plan, and that is then, I think, how do you become a more productive person to get more done in the same time that we're kind of giving everyone else. And I've talked about the health and fitness for me. That's very much starts in the morning and sets the tone for the day, which does make me a bit boring come 9 o'clock at night.
You've got glitter, so you can never be boring, which I am going to try, and I'm going to give you an update on how my glitter breakfast are
Tag
going.
me in your glitter
I literally
pose.
will.
I found some on Amazon or baking shops will sell it, because it used to always be something I would put on like banana muffins or cupcakes or something like that.
I'm going to get some for sure. Well, I always close out the pod with some rapid fire questions. So if you'd be open to finishing the sentence, they are leadership based questions. And I know we spoke about it before, but any woman that is building her own brand, any woman that is leading in any space, we always want to learn from your wisdom. So just 4 rapid fire, finish the sentences. I lead best when I stop trying to X and start Y.
Stop trying to please other people and be unapologetically me.
Love that. The boldest move I ever made as a leader was...
Leave my marriage.
Ooh, love it. Spicy. Power to me looks like...
feeling good in myself and the clothes that I'm wearing.
Oh, yes. And success used to mean X and now it means Y.
Oh, success was very much driven around finance. But for me, success now is very much going to bed and sleeping happy and waking up happy. I love it.
I really love that. Every time a woman talks about her being happy, I'm always like pausing, because I'm like, it's a journey to get to that place.
Really is.
And I relate to that. So I'm just like, I love that for you.
But it's quite interesting because I find not everyone around embraces it in the same way.
Yeah.
And it took me a little while to be honest with myself on why am I holding back my happiness because it might offend someone else. That was a big realization, because I've been there. I've been miserable. I get that there's times it is a journey, as you said.
It's a journey.
But can we just celebrate and be happy for women that are in that space, knowing that your time will come for that?
Absolutely.
The more you work on yourself. So I love it. I love when people tell me they're happy, because go for it.
Exactly, honestly. Well, if there are women listening that just think, I need more of this woman in my life, where do I find her? How can I connect with her? How do they find you?
So I'm on Kelly Lundberg, kellylundberg.official on Instagram. So I
Amazing.
reply to all my own DMs. LinkedIn, I'm really loving that platform at the moment. So I spend a lot of time on that. 5 days a week I'm posting on that, and I love engaging with people on LinkedIn and seeing what they're all about. And I've got my website, kellylundbergofficial.com. And there's a little story about that, actually. So I'll wrap up in that. I think if there's one takeaway that those that are listening with, if they haven't already, buy your domain name. So buy your name wherepossible.com.
Yeah.
And the reason Kelly Lundberg is Kelly Lundberg Official is because kellylundberg.com was taken when I had the Harvey Nichols interest in the event. I went to buy my domain name when I was getting my logo designed that I had told them that I was updating. And it was already gone, and I hired a GoDaddy broker to try and find it. Like, I've got an unusual name. So I was like, who's
this person?
who's got it? And to be fair, we tracked down who owned it. He got back in touch with me. I offered a lot of money for my domain name back in 2010-11. And he said no. And do you know why? He said, I've just had a daughter, and I've named her Kelly Lundberg. And I have it as a legacy for her.
Oh,
I know.
You can't even be mad at that.
Exactly. So then I made the very silly error in those days of being kellylundberg.co, because everyone told me that .co was the next big thing coming up, and it was a disaster. When I spent time in LA as a celebrity stylist, everyone just added an M onto it because they thought,
because of course.
or when I was in the UK, they added .uk onto it. So about 10 years ago, I rebranded and went under Kelly Lundberg Official. So my Instagram's under Kelly Lundberg Official, my brand is. So yeah, if you don't own your domain name, it's usually super cheap. Own it. And on that note, also buy your kids.
I need to do that. The pressure is on. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your wisdom. And it's been a really great conversation. And like I said, I'm really glad, and I'm encouraged to hear that you're happy.
Thank you so much.
Honestly.
And I think if anyone has been inspired to action in this episode, I think we'd both love to hear from them.
Absolutely.
Tag us into something on social, let us know on LinkedIn, because through what you're doing is inspiring others on, no one told me this, so I want to tell you. So you don't have to make the same mistake. So thank you for inviting me to your platform. Like, I loved it. It was so relaxing. It was so good.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everyone.